What's up, y'all? Come run 21 miles with us on my 21st birthday. Let's go. Alright, mile 1, let's go. Alright, mile 10, we stopped and took our first break.
Let's go.
I'll update you guys after we're done. Yeah, we never ended up finishing up that run. Instead, I'll be presenting to you guys 21 goals I have as a 21-year-old. Goal 1, to actually be able to run 21 miles. Here's the results of our initial attempt, and I've started this running journey now about 2 months ago, and this was the time that I posted for my first attempt. And since then, here's my best 5K time. And while I'm happy with the progress that I've made up until now in this running journey, it's still frustrating to fail. And so I want to be able to actually finish anything I've started, including this 21-mile run. Goal 2, creating an app. I've been becoming increasingly invested and interested in powerlifting. And along with this, I've come to enjoy creating through videos such as these. And I've had the aspiration for a long time now to also create products. And so this has become the perfect solution for me, in which app development allows me to develop purpose for my passions. And so I'm looking to push an MVP for my idea in the next coming weeks. Goal 3, to qualify for collegiate nationals. I also realize that this video is going to be really long, so I'm going to be concise in every explanation from here on out. But I started to powerlift as of last year, and I've been lifting for a couple of years before that, and I've come to enjoy this art and the sport, and I want to see how far I can take myself. And so one of the first steps and goals that I'd set out for myself is to be able to qualify to compete at the national stage. And so that is what I intend on doing, and hopefully I can fulfill this by my next meet in September. And beyond that, as of my pursuit for powerlifting, I want it to be a lifelong endeavor of mine, in which I'm constantly keeping my fitness and my health profile up to the highest standard that I possibly can have it at, so I can live a lengthy and prosperous life. Goal 4, to earn my first dollar from something that I've created. Beginning from last year, I've begun to write on a Substack, in which I've sought to create and publish at least one article per week. And I've come to enjoy that creative pursuit. And it's something that I personally, if we're given the opportunity or that were to become feasible, to create as a career, in which I'm self-employed in a sense, to actually be able to monetize my passions, my excitements, and what I enjoy to do. And I feel like it's a common, I guess, struggle or aspiration for many to be actually able to monetize and be able to sustain themselves financially and become independent based off their own creative fulfillments and their passions and desires. And so that's what I seek to do for myself as well. And before that becomes possible, I feel like I have to, it's almost necessary to compromise through working in the 9 to 5, or just be able to hold up other jobs that may be something that you don't actually feel or resonate strongly with, but serve as a means to an end to actually get to where you want to be, to fulfill your dreams. And so that's how I approach it for myself. But starting out really small, I can just set my sights and my goals on something that's actually more tangible and realistic, which is to just be able to monetize. And it's less about the monetization, but just to show that it's actually becoming something that is has legs in terms of actually being able to create and be able to actually sustain an ideal lifestyle based off creation. Goal number 5, learn how to swim. I feel like I don't really need to talk about this one too much. It's a bit self-explanatory for me. It's just, I'm a grown-ass man and I don't know how to swim. But beyond that, it would also help me be able to actually do some things that I've sought out to do, that I desire to do, such as compete in an Ironman, in which you have to bike, you have to, I think, swim, bike, and then run. But it's a non-starter if you don't know how to swim. And so that's kind of 2 for 1 for me. And so I want to be able to actually get into a pool and be able to like swim with confidence, not drown if someone pushes me into a deep end or like a bigger puddle which is beyond 6 feet or something like that. Like I think that's one of the main goals I need to get on and do soon. Oh my god, fuck, it's hot as bitch. Damn. Goal 6, to visit all 7 wonders of the world. And for this one, I've wanted to keep the habit of traveling alive and I've begun to travel a bit more frequently in these past couple of years, in which I had the opportunity to study abroad in South Korea my freshman year. And since then, I've begun to pick up the amount of times that I've actually said yes to going out on trips and spending more time with family. And then from there, I think traveling has been immensely fulfilling, in each and every vacation being an opportunity to be able to just rewire my brain, experience the world, get new perspectives and experiences, and just to be able to remind yourself that you're able to be any person that you want, because the environment that matches with it allows you to discover more about yourself, and which is what I really love about traveling. And so I've been able to visit one of the seven wonders of the world recently, the Taj Mahal, and now I want to visit the other six. And I definitely want to do this while I'm younger, but at the very least, at some point in my life, I will have traveled and visited all seven wonders of the world. Goal 7, to learn how to speak Hindi. For me, I hold this near to my heart because it's one of the native tongues from where I'm from. The primary language that India speaks is Hindi. And I recently went on a trip to India after about a decade or so. And even though I'm able to speak one of my native tongues, Telugu, I definitely realized a bit of how out of place I was not being able to connect with family and be able to speak in that language of Hindi. And for me, I want to become more proficient in both of these languages so I can feel more comfortable and connected with my culture, with my homeland. And I think it would be something that's immensely fulfilling for myself. And so I set to learn the language by the end of the year. Goals 8 and 9. First, to compete in a half marathon race, and then eventually to compete in an Ironman 70.3 or a half Ironman, and then ultimately an Ironman. And the shorter term focus and the more immediate goal is to be able to compete in a half marathon race, in which after I finish my powerlifting meet for this year, I'll be looking to sign up for a competition in November, and if not then, at the very least, complete it before I turn 22. And then on a longer term horizon, start gearing towards training and being in shape for actually competing in an Ironman, and going back to the earlier step, which is to learn how to swim. But the the motivation for me kind of just lies with, I had started just by picking up running just to challenge myself to see if I can do it. It was more of a mental thing more than anything, just to be able to have the fulfillment and to be able to say that I've achieved this, that I have been able to do something that I thought was challenging and difficult. And for me, that so far, that's been immensely fulfilling, in which what started 2 months ago of just saying, hey, can I still run a mile and still do it in a decent time? And then from there, pushing it, going to, can I run 2 miles and then 3 miles and then a 10K? And then now, most recently, I've been able to run a half marathon, in which that's something I never thought I'd be doing. And it's something that excites me as well, just to see how far I can push myself, to challenge, to strive for something greater than myself, in which the community is also so prevalent and strong in running. I've been able to meet some people already and form connections and bonds which otherwise wouldn't have otherwise been possible. Just be surrounded by goal-oriented individuals. And along with that, running has been immensely therapeutic as well. It's replaced some of my bad habits that I have personally, and the runner's high in a sense, and just to be able to start the day off strong and to stay fit and conditioned through running has been something that I intend on keeping as a cornerstone habit for me in my life. And I want to pair that with a greater purpose to strive for something great. And I guess that striving for greatness is where my motivation stems from, for wanting to compete in these hard, grueling challenges, such as the half marathon in the shorter term, and then the longer term for Ironmans, and then Ironman 70.3, and then ultimately an Ironman. Goals 10 and 11, to reach 100 subscribers on Substack and to reach 1,000 followers on TikTok. And for in terms of metrics and analytics, I'm not sure if I still have it right at all, in a sense, my general philosophy or framework, but it's easy to fixate or to obsess over numbers in an analytics driven world, and to determine or to tie that to worth or value. And with these goals, that isn't my intention, but it's also so easy to obsess over. But the way I try to want to reframe it, in a sense, is it's not what determines the value of who I am, or analytics isn't correlated to worth, but rather it's what those numbers represent, to have a healthy goal to grow my accounts, and with the hopes of, in that, by furthering my reach, I'm able to inspire others maybe those who resonate with the quality of my ideas or the content that I create, or even just the person that I am. Any of those would mean the world to me. And so that's the way I try to think about it. And that's what really drives my desire to continue to post and to hopefully get my reach, to drive up my reach and my engagement, and to actually reach those metrics and milestones in a way that's healthy and fulfilling. Goal 12, to backpack through Europe. And I'm going to keep this one super, super short, since it kind of feels like the same exact point as visiting all seven wonders of the world and just the general, more broader traveling point. The only thing I'll add to that, though, is I feel like specifically with backpacking, it'll teach me so much about myself, and it'll force me to grow and learn a lot about how to survive as an adult, and to just be able to adapt to any type of environment and situation. And so that type of challenge is something that I look forward to. And so that's the where, along with just the desire and the love for traveling, where that goal stems from. So goal 13, to reach single digit body fat. And for me, I've been lifting for a couple of years now, and what started that lifting journey was I'd felt insecure about the way I looked and how my body was. And to a degree, that body dysmorphia still hasn't completely gone away, and maybe it never completely will. But what had started my journey was in feeling like I was skinny fat. I'd wanted to just develop abs. And that's really what motivated me to go to the gym, not to get like a super strong SBD or anything like that. And while I have gotten relatively lean at my bests, I still want to beat that look, and to truly, truly be able to say that I've gotten a six pack, or just to be completely shredded, and to see what that looks like, even if it isn't sustainable for a brief, short period of time, to reach that state. And then from there, I'm looking to reverse diet back up. But it's been a lifetime desire of mine, and it's something that I want to fulfill within my lifespan. And I definitely feel like I can get that done within this year. And so that's something that I'm really looking forward to realizing. Goal 14, to create 459 posts. And what does that mean? Well, for me, it signifies, it's a symbol that signifies being able to turn the impossible into being possible. And pretty much, let's say you were to have a 1% likelihood of succeeding at any one thing, and a 99% chance of failing. And at 459 attempts, those odds flip, in which your guaranteed success, the likelihood of you being successful at least one time, is 99%, and you failing is less than 1%. And what that signifies for me is just a symbol towards a longer term discipline. And it's also a marker of just repeatedly showing up and showing effort towards whatever it may be that I do. And that we are terrible judges and critics of ourselves, in which we can never crack the code, in a sense, to figure out how we're going to become successful, or where that success or luck may come from. But just by showing up consistently enough times, we're able to actually capitalize on it eventually, and whenever it does come our way. And for us to put ourselves in the best positions possible. And for me, just having that astronomical number kind of in the back of my head assures me of, like, just to be consistent in my efforts, and to just keep showing up, and that the effort matters a lot more over the long term, and that those types of attempts compound. And so that's what 459 means. And that framework, I feel like, applies to almost anything beyond just even posting. It can just be anything about life. So goal 15, to learn how to hit a backflip and muscle up and dunk. And I'm bundling all of these together because I feel like splitting them up is starting to become a little bit redundant, and they fall into the same bracket anyways of just physical achievements. And so the main one I want to focus on, though, is the backflip, and that's the one I want to complete more than any of the other ones. And that's because the last time I attempted to learn how to hit a backflip, this was the result. And so I just really, really need to feel better about myself, because I don't want to feel like a little bitch. Like, I want to be able to actually say that I can hit a backflip, especially after that, right? I feel like I gotta do this one, right? You know, out of all the goals, this might just have to bump up to number one. Goal 16, graduating summa cum laude from college. I'm now entering my senior year at NC State, and while my perspective has shifted from being more and more oriented and obsessed with a GPA, and that to now believing that it's your narrative and your experiences that define who you are, more so than the number itself. I still believe in chasing and aspiring towards a standard of excellence. And while it may seem trivial or not as significant or grandiose of a goal, it's still an accomplishment and a milestone in of its own right to be able to graduate from college and to be blessed to even be given and afforded that opportunity to actually receive a higher education. And so I think it's deserving of still being a goal and aspiration in mind. And I look forward to rounding out my college experience as a senior. And the time really does fly by, but I'm really grateful for the moments that I've had, the people that I've met, friendships that I've developed. And I look forward to finishing out strong here. And that's goal number 16. Goal 17, to become financially independent and ultimately financially free. And now that I'm entering my last year of college, I'm at the perfect position now to start entering the workforce and the job market and to earn a substantial salary and truly become independent away from being dependent on my parents for personal and financial support. And for me, it's an exciting time in my life in which I'm really able to establish myself and start my journey of financial prosperity and to build and accumulate wealth, in which my ultimate goal is to then be able to sustain myself, generate enough cash flow from an asset base that I've built to where I'm able to sustain my ideal lifestyle and to be able to accumulate enough wealth to be able to do whatever it is that I want in life. And now I'm at the age in which I really believe that it's imperative to start taking it seriously to actually start building my financial acumen, and along with that, building a solid base for myself and to set myself up for my future. Goal 18, to build a portfolio worth 10K or more. And for me, this is the action step that is closer towards my previous goal and the first step towards that journey of reaching financial freedom. And for me, it's a ambitious but yet feasible goal in which I actually have a target in mind, a number that I can strive towards in terms of accumulating a solid set of assets through various asset classes. And for me, this is more about just increasing my financial knowledge through practical application and actually getting comfortable with taking risks with money and making each dollar that I earn actually work for me, and eventually being able to be at the point in which I'm no longer working for money, but rather money is working for me, which is, I feel like, the ultimate aspiration for most individuals, and it definitely is true for myself. And so I've already begun to invest not substantial amounts, but just in the practice through smaller cap stocks. But along with that, I want to be able to diversify my understanding of various asset classes and actually get comfortable in investing in them. And I hope to be able to actually accumulate enough wealth to which I can live comfortably. And that's my sole motivation for increasing my knowledge, because I want to be able to live a more prosperous life. And so it's a necessity to be more financially attuned. And so this is my incentive for being able to actually have like a strong portfolio, and gives me something to work towards and focus on for this next coming year. Goal 19, to read at least 10 books and complete one course per year. And for me, this is about being a lifelong learner and to be diligent about keeping my knowledge base updated and to be constantly absorb new ideas and practical knowledge for me to actually apply and take action towards whatever it may be that I desire. And it's immensely helpful to constantly be learning new skills, to embrace challenge, and to accept change, to actually adapt to any environment and situation in this world. And I truly believe in that. And that I feel like that's the only way to um, stay competitive in whatever pursuit that you may have. And so for me, I've completed about maybe 6 books or so, or finished reading about 6 books or so this year, as I've tried to make that a cornerstone habit of mine, in which I've started to really ramp up my my persistence in reading in the starting of this year. And I want to make that a habit that I actually sustain and keep. And along with that, whatever course that I may take, I want to do it with intention and actually be able to apply what I learned towards my actual life. Let's say I wanted to learn sales, then taking a sales course would give me the actual tips and practical experience I wouldn't otherwise get to actually apply towards being better at that discipline. And I feel like this applies for anything in life, just to keep yourself always honest and open to any new ideas and information that may come your way to shape and reform my perspective is something that I hope to be as a person. And so this is a practical way to go about doing that. Goal 20, to continue brainstorming. While I was making this list, I went in the order in which the ideas came to my mind. And when I got to around the 20th spot, my mind had suddenly went blank. I couldn't think of any ideas, and I'd left a placeholder as to continue brainstorming. But for me, I'd really liked the idea, and decided to keep this in my list as I want to stay flexible in the way I think, my thought processes, in the direction that I want to go through. And I don't want to stay rigid as an individual, and constantly allow myself the opportunities to expand and evolve as a person in whatever direction it may make sense towards me at whatever stage of life that I may be at. I can't predict the future, and I don't know everything that's in store for me in the coming years. And so I want to be the type of person who's able to respond to change and to be able to adapt to any situation, rather than conforming to an old set of beliefs, principles, or ideas that no longer exist in the world that I'm in at that current stage of time. And so I want to be able to constantly think on my feet, to learn, and to actually grow and evolve. And that principle and philosophy and the way of being is something that I hope to continue to stay true to and be a part of as my character and my who I am. And so it's a whole lot of yap. I know I've been yapping this whole time, to be honest, but I do really like that one. And so as I go through this year and I hit some of these checkpoints, I achieve some of my goals, I'm going to constantly be striving towards newer goals, and to be envisioning a future for myself, which is constantly going to evolve and iterate in directions that I can't even fathom right now. But I'm super excited to see how that plays out in the future, in the coming years that I have as a youth, in my 20s, as a youth, wow, and further on into my life. And I hope to be able to still be the type of person um, who can constantly change and evolve, and I don't want to be any different. And finally, goal 21 is to live fully and to love fully. And for me, this is a reminder that none of these goals have meaning unless I'm the one who ascribes meaning towards them, and that I should be giving myself grace through every point in life that I'm at, and that we only have one life, and it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to change, and that I should constantly be practicing the concept of self-love and to love others, and to be the best person and to strive to be the best person that I possibly can be. And that all of these all of these pursuits should ultimately be in that it is fulfilling towards me, and it's something that makes myself happier as an individual. And so for me, I want to be able to live to the highest form and extent that I possibly can be, living in, and for me to also remind myself that these goals are something that should be self-fulfilling and serving. And that concludes the goals that I have here. And thank you so much for watching this video if you made it this far. And I hope to be able to reflect on this come next year for my 22nd birthday, to see the progress that I've made and where I stand at that point in time. And I hope to make this, to continue to keep this as a habit, to reflect upon myself while also moving through this life with intention, and with the fullest pursuit of achieving my goals, while also fulfilling myself and those around me, and to be the best person that I possibly can be. So yeah, again, thank you for watching.